Good day everyone, and now I will share to you my answer in our activity Managerial Economics, which is Chapter 11 Managerial Decision in Competitive Markets. Discuss fully what a market structure is. Cite an example. Market structure refers to the nature and degree of competition in the market for goods and services. The structure of market, both for goods market and service factor market, are determined by the nature of competition prevailing in a particular market. The four popular types of market structures include perfect competition. Perfect competition occurs when there are a large number of small companies competing against each other. Example: farm products such as wheat and corn. Oligopoly market. An oligopoly market consists of a small number of large companies that sell differentiated or identical products. Since there are few players in the market, their competitive strategies are dependent on each other. Example: steel, automobiles, airlines, aircraft manufacturers. Monopoly market or pure monopoly. In a monopoly market or pure monopoly, a single company represents the whole industry. It has no competitor, and it is the sole seller of products in the entire market. This type of market is characterized by factors such as the sole claim to ownership of resources, patent and copyright, licenses issued by the government, or high initial setup costs. Example: utilities such as gas, water, cable, television. And monopolistic competition refers to an imperfectly competitive market with the traits of both the monopoly and competitive market. Example: retail, specialty clothing store. Explain the following characteristic of perfect competition. Price taking. A perfectly competitive firm is known as a price taker, because the pressure of competing firms forces is to accept the prevailing equilibrium price in the market. If a firm in a perfectly competitive market raises the price of its product by so much as penny, it will lose all of its sales to competitors. When a wheat grower, as we discussed in the Bring It Home feature, wants to know the going price of wheat, he or she has to check on the computer or listen to the radio. Supply and demand in the entire market solely determine the market price, not the individual farmer. A perfectly competitive firm must be a very small player in the overall market, so that it can increase or decrease output without noticeable affecting the overall quantity supplied and price in the market. Production of a homogeneous or perfectly standardized product. Perfect competition can only occur when consumers perceive the products of all producers to be equivalent. Therefore, it can only occur when the industry output is a commodity, otherwise known as a standardized product. Since standardized products are homogeneous, a single producer cannot increase the price of their good or service without losing all sales to the competition. It implies that price-taking firms face perfect price elasticity of demand. Barriers to entry and exit. A barrier to entry is something that blocks or impedes the ability of a company or competitor to enter an industry. In perfect competition, there are no barriers to entry into or exit out of the market. Firms produce homogeneous, identical units of output that are not branded. Each unit of input, such as units of labor, are also homogeneous. No single firm can influence the market price or market conditions. How is price of a product or service determined under perfect competition? Briefly describe the demand curve of a perfectly competitive firm. In perfect competition, the price of a product is determined at a point at which the demand and supply curve intersect each other. This point is known as equilibrium point, as well as the price is known as equilibrium price. In addition, at this point, the quantity demanded and supplied is called equilibrium quantity. Demand curve is a horizontal line at the market price. This result means that the price it receives is the same for every unit sold. The marginal revenue received by the firm is the change in total revenue from selling one more unit, which is the constant market price. What is the profit maximizing output level of a perfectly competitive firm in the short run? Profit-maximizing output level of a perfectly competitive firm in the short run will occur when a firm chooses the level of output where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. The concept of profit maximizing, like the firm that produces a single good using only two inputs, labor and capital. From our textbook, answer comprehensively item number 3 of applied problems on page 441, e.g. all city realtors. The manager of all city realtors wants to hire some real estate agents to specialize in selling housing units acquired by the Resolution Trust Corporation or RTC in its attempt to bail out the savings and loan industry. The commission paid by the RTC to the company to sell these homes is a flat rate of 2,000 per unit sold, rather than the customary commission that is based on the sale price of a home. The manager estimates the following marginal product schedule for real estate agents dealing in government-owned housing. So this is the given. Construct the marginal revenue product schedule by filling in the blanks in the table. Para makuha natin yung marginal revenue product, i-multiply natin yung marginal product number of additional units sold per year sa price, which is 2,000. Isali na natin siya sa table para hindi natin siya makalimutan. Example, 20 times 2,000 equals 40,000. 17 times 2,000 equals 34,000. And ganun din yung gagawin mo sa 15, 12, 8, and 4. Multiply mo lang siya ng 2,000 para makuha mo yung marginal revenue product. If the manager of all city realtors must pay a wage rate of 32,000 per year to get agents who will specialize in selling RTC housing, how many agents should the manager hire and why? 2 agents only should the manager hire, because if the manager hire more than 2 agents, the added cost will exceed and added revenue can cause losses. If the wage rate falls to 18,000 per year, how many agents should the manager hire? Only 4 agents should manager hire because 4 agents brings more revenue than a cost. Suppose the RTC raises its commission to 3,000 per unit sold. Now, what is the marginal revenue product of each real estate agent and employed? Para naman malaman natin yung marginal revenue product, napalitan na yung price natin. Hindi na siya 2,000, 3,000 na siya. Para makompute natin yung marginal revenue product, ganun pa rin. I-multiply natin si marginal product, number of additional units sold per year, sa price na given, which is 3,000 per unit sold. Example, 20 times 3,000 equals 60,000. 17 times 3,000 equals 51,000. Now that the RTC is paying 3,000 per unit sold, how many agents should the manager hire if the wage rate is 30,000? The manager should hire 4 agents only because hiring 4 agents will bring more revenue than its cost. Let's proceed to the chapter 12, which is Managerial Decision for Firms with Market Power. Discuss fully the concept of market power in the context of market structure. Market power is an organization's ability to control the price of a product by manipulating its supply, its demand, or both. Market power is also referred to as economic strength. Companies that possess market power are referred to as price makers because they are able to determine the price for a product or service even as they maintain market shares. Discuss fully the following characteristic of a monopoly. Single seller or producer. In a monopoly, one seller produces all of the output for a good or service. The entire market is served by a single firm. For practical purposes, the firm is the same as the industry. Unique product. A monopolist is selling unique product and the design and idea created by his own. The seller is price maker. He decided to set the product price and maximize the profit. Therefore, monopoly is an absence of competition which often results in high prices. Impossible entry. It happens because of the lack of competition. They may limit competition to a few firms. What is meant by economies of scale? Cite an example. Economies of scale refer to the cost advantage experienced by a firm when it increases its level of output. The advantage arises due to the inverse relationship between per unit fixed cost and the quantity produced. The greater the quantity of output produced, the lower the per unit fixed cost. For example, a business might enjoy a company scale with respect to its bulk purchasing. By buying a large number of products at once, it could negotiate a lower price per unit than its competitors. This would allow the bulk purchasers to either pass on this benefit to its customer in the form of lower prices or retain that benefit for themselves in the form of a higher profit margin. Similar economies of scale can be found in areas such as marketing, manufacturing, and the creation of intellectual property. Discuss fully the following characteristic of a monopolistic competition. Many small sellers. Each firm is so small relative to the total market that each firm pricing decisions have a negligible effect on the market price but are still price makers. They have some control over their price. Differentiated products. It is the process of distinguishing a product or service from others to make it more attractive to a particular target market. This involves differentiating it from competitors' products as well as a firm's own products. Easy market entry and exit. Easy market entry and exit in monopolistic competition means that a company or firm will enter a market where they can earn profit and they will exit the market if the firm losing money or profit. In your opinion, in what market structure do manufacturers of COVID-19 vaccine belong to? Why? Explain fully your answer. In my opinion, the market structure thus manufacturers of the COVID-19 vaccine belongs in monopolistic competition. Since they are fewer sellers, their product differentiation that gives the firm some degree of market power to set the price, and there are close substitutes available if the vaccine is not available, but not perfect substitute. Relative to question number 5, make a research on how said companies set and determine the price and output. Example, units of production of their vaccines respectively. What strategies do they employ to be able to compete in the market? The manufacturers of vaccine consider the price charged by their competitors and ignores the impact of their prices on their competition. Manufacturers produce many products as the demand is high, which means that marginal revenue corresponding to its marginal cost. The strategies they make to compete in the market is they will trying to differentiate their products. Thank you for your listening. God bless and thank you.